Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Brandon Barnes, and I am the host of the Life Unfiltered podcast by the Barnes Bunch.
Whoop.
I have my beautiful co-host,
Maggie.
Maggie,
Margaret,
whatever you want to call her.
Depending on the day.
We're excited to share this with you. This has been a project in the works for, going on 90 days, 6 months, a year, something of that nature. Long time.
Sure.
Maggie doesn't want to get on camera.
No, but I'm here. Sacrifice. Marriage is about sacrifice.
It's about sacrifice. So,
or compromise, as some people want to say.
There you go. But to give you guys a little bit of idea what we're going to be talking about, both of us are entrepreneurs. We are a couple that works together. We have businesses together. We have kids. There's a lot going on in our lives. And cats.
And a dog.
We may not have him a whole lot longer, but we have him
for a limited time.
Yeah. So, so we have a lot going on in life, and a lot of interesting stories, advice, ups, downs, you name it. And so we kind of have coffee every morning. And so our thoughts are, let's just take our coffee conversation and put it on the internet. And, hopefully you guys get some value out of it, get some entertainment out of it.
And we get a check eventually, or some coins. I don't know. Maybe.
I don't think a check's
free champagne.
I don't think a check's that important, So
maybe ish.
I think it's just to have fun.
Okay.
So, Maggie, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Sure. To layer on to what you said, both entrepreneurs, we both have businesses. We flip together, work together. I am diving quite deep into interior design lately, which is where my true passion lies. I really like to help people make their spaces look beautiful versus ugly and interesting, specifically for Airbnbs right now, but I would love to do all types of design for people. And staging has been our loss leader, but not fully losses, but has led into this. So I love to stage for other investors and for realtors. That side of my business is growing. And I'm a mom of 2 beautiful girls and 3 male fur babies, 2 black cats, and a white Pomeranian. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right.
So far.
And then the proud owner of a Stanley Cup as well.
Correct.
She's trying to be as basic as she possibly can now.
Correct.
So.
That has my interior design business name on it, which is my first 2 names out of 4. Margaret Doris on the top. But, I didn't realize that they made Art Deco, really cool ones until I looked online. So it's not that basic. The basic would have been the all white or all pink, or one of those people who, go to Target as soon as they release them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So. This was one that was in plethora, so not everyone has the same style and aesthetic as I do.
Okay. All right. And then, to piggyback on what Maggie said, we own the company called Charleston House Guy. I have been in real estate for going on July will be 8 years. Spent 17 years in food and bev prior to that. And then now we primarily flip. We do some wholesale. But at the end of the day, our goal is to take ugly homes and make them beautiful. And also proud girl dad, avid golfer, all the fun stuff. So it's everybody thinks business, flipping, interior design, all this stuff. I love to hear it. You must have loved the market, make a bunch of money, life's easy. And our thoughts with this is, kind of go behind the scenes and, and tell you guys what it's about. And so if you guys have questions, whatever, feel free to ask them and we'll go from there. So Maggie, tell us a little bit about your interior design business or staging. How'd you get started? What is it you do for people's homes exactly?
So staging started off of us flipping our own. We quickly realized how expensive staging can be in Charleston. There are some really lovely stagers out there who absolutely earn their price. However, when you're starting out, you're not flipping in that $1 million range. You're flipping a little bit lower, and your budget just doesn't account for $4,000 to fill a house when we're selling it for $250,000 or less. So we started staging our own, kind of help us save some money at first, and then it kind of snowballed into a hobby that makes some money, and then into a business that makes some money. And then staging sort of, what's the word, organically grew into interior design for Airbnbs, since a lot of the ones I do are for other investors. I was approached, I think, like twice by two different ones saying, hey, have you ever, filled an Airbnb before? And of course I was like, no, but I know that I can. And I did those for way too cheap, which was a learning lesson. I still am probably too cheap, but it kind of like grew from there, and made some really great relationships with some property managers who manage large portfolios of homes. Started doing refreshes on some of those already interior design spaces, but with Airbnbs, people run through them, especially all the bachelorettes in downtown Charleston. They know how to destroy a joint quite quickly.
But not like physically destroy it though. They destroy like curtains and sheets and.
But sometimes they put holes in the wall, and sometimes they stand on Amazon chairs that are weight regulated for 110 pounds, and then they dance, and then they break a chair leg, and if you're not a small toddler, and some of those chairs are going to break.
Yeah,
it's just how it goes. But with those guys, they run at such a tight ship, and their occupancy rate is so high. They can afford to get all new dining sets a couple times a year. They'll be all right. And that just, snowballed into that. And I'm looking forward to probably taking on some private clients this year as a goal, just to do some really cool interior design for maybe some friends, just for homeowners who aren't going to have thousands of people running through their property. But I do like Airbnbs because it allows you a lot of creative freedom, especially with some of these owners. They don't know anything about design, and they trust me to make their space look really cool and marketable. And that's really fun because I get to choose things and come up with themes, and the themes seem to really grab a lot of vacationers and tourists because they want somewhere cool to stay.
But to hold you on the themes didn't start in the beginning though, because your first couple clients when you started, it was like they thought they could grab a U-Haul on a weekend and like hammer Facebook Marketplace and Goodwill and stuff, right? Like it wasn't.
I think there's still some out there who think that, and there are quite a few one-off owners that are sent my way where I have to have like a come to Jesus meeting with them, in the sense that like, no, Joe, you can't buy like your used furniture off the internet and hope that you're going to make, your mortgage and then some on this property, because it's just not how it works. Plus, it's a lot more work that way anyway. They don't think about their time and like having to rent a trailer if they don't have one, or a truck, and like go all over town and hope that the person you're buying the item from is even going to meet you there.
And hope it looks like what it looks
exactly
like.
The same.
Not broken, busted, smells like cats.
Yeah, or dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
That's still probably going to be a conversation I have for a long time, I assume.
Yeah. And I think, you being in the interior design space, myself being more in the construction, renovation, fix and flip side, a lot of people ask us about Airbnbs and what we think about them. And what you've noticed and what I've seen is that the people who treat it like a hospitality industry and not hey, let me just make some money because I bought a bad home, and you've seen much greater success in those people, correct? Versus
I mean, it was
a mom and pop Airbnb owner.
Yeah. If you approach your Airbnb as a small boutique hotel and you come at it from that standpoint and think about how you would want to stay, at minimum a Holiday Inn, and at best, like your Ritz with some free jelly beans, you need to be somewhere in the middle of that mix, because I guess the hard truth is that competition is very stiff when it comes to Airbnb, and some of these large vacation areas like Charleston, like Nashville, all those places, you are in competition with the boutique hotels at this point, with fees and cleaning and everything it takes to run these operations. Those fees are passed on to your guests, and those guests are choosing either your space or the Hilton down the road.
I famously tell a story of a bachelor party I went on last March. I don't know, famously,
all of your fans.
Yeah, to my
so many.
To my 8 fans. Speaking of that, like Instagram is like, why do I have this running account? It's for the 250 people that follow me.
Yeah, 1,000%. They want to watch me run.
That's right. So anyways, I went on a bachelor party last March, and I think there was like 16 of us in the house, 15 or 16.
Yeah.
And so we got a beautiful, large beach house on the ocean, 2 pools, just, I think it was like $2,000 or $3,000 a night, but divided 16 ways, like it was pretty cheap for 2 nights. And, but we paid, $4 or $5 whatever for the house. And there was no toilet paper. There was no paper towels.
Mind boggling.
There was no soap.
How do they expect you to poo? Like
They-
you're just all your towels are ruined now, and so is your plumbing.
Part of the check-ins was like for us to go buy it.
Wow.
And so I remember me and Andres went to the grocery store and bought like a 48 pack and they had to ration toilet paper to everybody in the group. And it was like, all right, you may drink or eat worse than this person. So you're going to get 2 rolls of toilet paper. You're going to get 1 roll. And we had to figure it out. And then it came time to checking out on Sunday, and I'm a bigger hotel fan than Airbnb fan, but, cause I just want to like pack my bag and leave.
Right.
But we're in the process of, cleaning up the trash and trying to do the dishes. Then we discovered there's no dish soap. There's no soap for the dishwasher. So I'm like, so then I started questioning, was the stuff that I ate on and drank on ever cleaned?
Likely no, I would say.
Yeah,
or had they been, it's been a while. They've been sitting in that
or
cabinet.
they just ran a rinse cycle in the dishwasher.
Probably.
Versus, and so, and that's always been my pet peeve to it is if I'm going to go spend $100 a night, $200 a night, $300 a night, whatever for a hotel room, I don't ever have to worry about any of that stuff.
Right.
And when I go to Airbnbs, if the owner isn't hospitable and think about the needs of the guest, then it's going to be a one and done. It's not going to be like, hey, I'm going to come back next year and do that stuff. And so you think about that when you.
Yeah. I mean, I think that is kind of the old school way that they used to run a lot of rentals, especially on the beach. Cause I specifically remember growing up as a kid and going to Myrtle Beach or like Cherry Grove or Litchfield or whatever. And even out to Sullivan's and stuff closer to here. And my parents would bring like sheets and paper products.
Really?
And I think a lot of that was my mom just being like hyper prepared, and just being herself, like with her fan and her pillows and like all the things she needs to sleep, like we all do now. But I do remember us bringing stuff and my dad always being like, that's not provided. And she's like, not always, because you never know.
Yeah.
But I think if I were to rent or we were to rent an Airbnb and they didn't have toilet paper, and I would be shocked right now. Like I would be like, huh? And would immediately believe that somebody somewhere made a mistake. Like you can't, toilet paper to me is like the bare minimum.
Yeah.
You need to be able to have, even if it's just like 1 roll, like 1 roll for a bathroom. So like, okay, 1 full roll might get you, depending on how many people are staying, like you might get through a couple days before you need to go to the store. But
this was like a bachelor party house.
It's outrageous.
Like we saw the cleaner Sunday, like we kind of transitioned and the cleaners, we were like, apologies. We did try not to trash the house too much. Like we did a pretty good job keeping it clean. And the cleaners were like, oh no. Like
I think when you have like a space that sleeps, anywhere from like 14 up, they expect it to be absolutely demolished, especially around the dirty Myrtle.
But you've seen it in 2023. I've heard so many people talk about the decline of Airbnb. And I don't think it's the decline of Airbnb in whole. I think it's the decline of Airbnb of people who provide a bad product.
Oh, for sure.
And so I still think, I see the client stuff that you do and I see the reviews and so I see people are still using it.
Oh yeah.
But it's the Goodwill couch that was from the 80s. It may be a cool couch. It may be comfortable, but it isn't what people want now because hotels, I mean, even the Hampton Inn, we stayed at a Hampton Inn in Jacksonville this year and it was really nice.
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
Super, super affordable, basic hotel, but they had renovated. It had LVP in it and it had nice blankets and, it was really nice. And so it's like, I can spend $110 a night to stay at this Hampton Inn or spend $150 a night to stay at an Airbnb and have to clean my room, have to
trash out.
take the trash out. And I'm like, I got to already go do that at home. So
yeah, I think a lot of the rental companies, at least the property managing companies, have gotten rid of those types of requests because they're not one-off owners.
Yeah.
But the days of you being able to rent out like a house filled with Goodwill furniture and make a profit is pretty much gone. There's just too much competition in your areas like here in Charleston. You're just not going to make any money.
And proof of concept to that is You recently did 2 Airbnbs in Park Circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same neighborhood in the Mixon area.
Yeah.
And same client. You did the first one, and the first one was nice. You did what, like a game room and like.
Yeah, we did a big game room with a shuffleboard and lots of like retro video games, movie posters. It was supposed to be like a movie / game room, so they had quite a bit of different types of movies to watch, that kind of thing.
But you did that house, and that house has done well for them. And then they had a second one, which was, I think it's one more bedroom, so you can't really take the price per night exactly the same.
Yeah, it is one more bedroom.
It's one more bedroom.
Yeah.
But what are 2 things that you did in that house that have had the owners call you back about it?
It's mainly the design. It's very colorful. The theme behind it was like a Y2K meets disco. So I don't know if anybody really remembers, but I know I do. Blow up furniture from Limited 2, circa like 2001. I loved all of it. I wanted it. The glitter was awesome. I wanted all the sets. And so that's what I started thinking about, because it's like Y2K, early 90s. It's like having a big comeback when it comes to clothing, at least for women, and like trends. If going to a Target, there's nothing in there I can buy right now other than like khakis, because it is all not like it's the stuff I wore in middle school, and it's too weird for me right now for me to go back there. But that theme, I think, just brings in so much nostalgia for those of us who are in our 30s. And then it's very trendy for those of us who are in our 20s, who are booking bachelorette parties and just parties in general. And then the other side of it is that theme itself is just innately very colorful and loud, and
Which means photogenic.
very photogenic, very marketable. We made a lot of little moments that I've been adding to help with some of those marketing photos, like up close photos of a record player, up close photos of the disco planters, because we went with a disco theme in the house. Because the master bedroom has a massive walk-in closet. It's probably close to the size of our office, which is completely useless in an Airbnb.
And to give you some reference, our office is like a 8x10 room, so 80 square feet. And so this was the closet, which you don't need that in Airbnb. Half people don't even unpack their suitcase.
Exactly. And so we turned the majority of that closet into a disco closet with lights and music and a karaoke machine and photo, what are they called? Photo props? Like a photo booth?
Like little photo booth.
Yeah, from the
selfie
90s
props.
and the early 2000s. And the whole rest of the house kind of is on that theme. We call it the disco house because of the disco closet. But it does mix like the 70s and the early 90s and 2000s, that funky, groovy, very brightly colored space. And so much so that we're going back and doing a refresh on the first one that I did for these guys, because it outperforms all the other ones in the portfolio.
Correct. And again, it's hard on a night by night basis because one's more room. So it's not 100% apples for apples.
Bedroom.
But it has smoked the other house, and the other house is doing well. And so that shows that themes and design, because not only do you go and design the house, you also let the owner know, like, hey, get photos of this and this. Like, let's get some specific photos. And then as the photographer gets to know you, like, there's other things that are happening. And it's since led to your second theme you just finished, right, in Park Circle?
Yeah, the rock and roll theme.
Yeah.
We went with like vinyl records, just strictly rock and roll. I have a feeling that one's going to do quite well as well, because it's got a lot of really neat art in it, and the pictures I took, I felt like came out well. And so if that happens, then professional photographers better be better than mine.
Yeah, I can't wait to see those. And you also put something cool. You did like a temporary tattoo station in there.
Yeah, the tattoo station was fun. Made like a little small art piece that says like St. John's Avenue's tattoo station. It says walk-ins only. And it's like all those temporary tattoos that are like rock themed. Definitely some barbed wire ones for those of us that remember Tommy Lee and Pamela. They had matching ones. I don't know.
I always wanted a barbed wire tattoo around my bicep.
You would.
I thought it was
horrible, but
I thought it was the greatest, and
I'm so glad that didn't happen.
and I went
I
went so long without a tattoo, and then I'm finally.
It's like barbed wire, and then they had like the tribal ones that look like a flame.
I wanted all of them. I wanted all the tattoos. I can remember.
Bad.
I remember my first tattoo I finally like went to the drawing phase, like it was going to take up like half my back. And my dad's like, you don't need to do that.
Yeah, if your dad's telling you not to get a tattoo, that's probably pretty bad.
I was like 21 or 22, and I was going to have this massive Kappa Sigma like thing
I'm
across.
so glad that didn't happen.
It was going to take like my whole back out. So, yeah.
Oh, no.
Now,
Yeah, that would have been very regretful, I think.
now I just have some
Regrettable. Yeah.
regrettable.
Regrettable decision.
Now I just have
No regrets.
a couple tick marks. No regrets.
No regrets.
Let me get no regrets on this thing. So,
It's terrible. Well, these are temporary and they're small. So.
Yeah, I can live with that. I'll get like a big temporary one on my back, just like a whole back sleeve. No?
That sounds like too much work. And that I would be the one who would be required to do that for you and pass.
So, but yeah, so back to interior design. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, the tangents are what she's good for before we started recording. So we haven't used our setup together yet, first time. And she was really concerned that she could only hear in one ear.
I still can only hear in one ear. I don't like it. So we'll have to change that for the next one.
I don't think you can change that. I think
it should be changed. It's very odd. I can hear you in my ears. So why would I only be able to hear in one ear? It's very loud in my right ear.
I think it's a closed loop. I think I can hear in the left ear, you hear in your right ear.
But why?
I don't know. Google it.
All right, I will later.
We'll have the answer for you guys in episode.
Very frustrating.
We'll have the episode 2 answer if our headphones are working properly or I did something wrong.
I think it's just like for auditory people, it's throwing me off. My brain keeps alerting me. Something up here is like, we can't hear in the left ear.
Unfazed by it. Unfazed by it at all. So, yeah, I mean, that's.
Yep. We just finished the rock and roll one. We're moving on to, I've done some artist theme ones too that do well. The Banksy, that's the one in, was it the Terrace? What am I thinking of?
Banksy.
Dorchester Terrace, where we did the Banksy mural, the spray paint on South Allen, I think is.
Oh yeah. See, I didn't really see that house.
Oh.
I helped you.
Yeah.
I'm the trash guy, so I just got the trash and.
That was all based around Banksy art.
Okay.
Like and one olive couch that the owner insisted on using.
Yeah.
But it does quite well considering it is in a rough area. Like, it's not a Park Circle spot.
No, but it's also a pretty killer location too.
Yeah, and it's a 2-1. But we were able to do like a retro fridge in there. It's also super colorful, but with those vintage colors like olive and orange, very 70s. If I had my way, we'd have done like a shag carpet or something in there. But again, cleaners. That sounds so difficult to clean.
Yeah, yeah. So
but it would have been dope.
What is and obviously it's dependent bedrooms, bathrooms, stuff like that. But every house has a kitchen, and you know the kind of the genuine staples. What is, so people can understand now that you know are thinking of Airbnb, like what does it cost roughly, all in, hire you, design it, install the furniture? Like if I were to buy one today that was completely renovated, ready to go, and I said, Maggie, you know what is somebody gonna need to put in a budget if they want something like fully furnished, ready to go?
I mean, if we're including my cost, I would probably say like 25 to 30 is a good safe space to be now.
Okay.
Or it used to be pretty doable, maybe even 2 years ago or a year ago. Around 12 at the very cheapest is what I've done it for. I just don't think that's feasible anymore.
And that's also like a super bare bones house. Like
yes,
it's
like really bare, and I wouldn't recommend it for people who are looking to cash flow a property. If to them their main goal is to be able to pay its mortgage and not make any money, then okay, maybe. And they just want to be able to have something like for taxes or 1031 or whatever. And they're all they want to do is have it paid off in 15 years, 15 to 30. I'd be like, well, then maybe you can get away with this. Yeah. But if you're looking at cash flow and all the things I just said, like have the best of both worlds, like you need to be able to put in some money to begin with.
Which is what makes Airbnbs hard.
Yeah.
Is, you know, for us, like we flip homes, we renovate them, and we sell them. And, you know, we've looked at trying to keep Airbnbs a few times. And one of the biggest reasons and hurdles behind keeping them is when you go to refinance, 95% of the time, you're going to be leaving some cash in the deal, you know, unless you just get a smoking deal and your appraisal is significantly better than what your all-in costs are. And then part two to that is you got to stroke a $25,000 to $30,000 check to then get it furnished, because it's not like, it's not like you can go and spend like $5,000 here and $6,000 here. You have to, like, when you start ordering, it is a free for all at our front door for the amount of packages and like how quickly it happens. And from the day that you start, like somebody pays the deposit, you're done in what, 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks now?
Yeah, I would say max is 6 weeks. The one we're doing right now is longer because we did like a small renovation. We're adding extra things like wallpaper and feature walls and painting. All of that is added onto there. But if we're going in and out, we're not doing anything like that, we can be close to 4 weeks. It just depends on whatever else is going on. 4 to 6 weeks, I think, is a pretty good, a good range to give to people.
Which has also changed stuff, because shipping, I remember when you first started, 2 years ago, shipping was a lot easier. Now, we're seeing a lot more things not coming or being delayed, or,
with furniture right now, it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, furniture in itself has always had a crazy like 400% markup, but the markup is even more because of inflation. And then now the majority of my stuff that used to take 2 to 3 days is like 5 to 7. Anything from your bigger retailers like Wayfair and what's the other one I love? Not Amazon. Well, I love Amazon, but like Wayfair, Amazon, all those other ones, they you used to be able to be like, I could put some money on the fact that this thing's going to be at my front door in 2 days. Yeah. Now I'm like, I wouldn't bet on it.
Which also plays into the budget and the time factor.
Correct.
Because, sometimes there may be this awesome couch or table or whatever, and it may fit the budget, but then it won't come for a month.
Right.
And you got to get the house ready to go, because you can't wait a month on a table, because
it's holding costs for a lot of these people who it's their first, or whether it's their first or their 10th, they want it done as soon as possible, because you're not making any money if I'm in there installing stuff.
Literally the day you're finishing, the cleaners and photographer the next day.
Yeah, and they're booking quite quickly, which is how it should be. If you're working with a good property management company, you should be rolling. Yeah. And if you're not, then you're just leaving money on the table, unfortunately.
100%. Like it's so important to kind of get them up and running, and then, because you've had clients, you've sold them your design service and not the install service.
Yep.
And you've had one client who actually, you think, did the whole thing. Like, did you ever see photos, see if it went live?
I did see it, and some of it did. He took everything that I did and put it up there. I would have changed some things, which is what happens when you order stuff. Either measurements online are incorrect, or maybe it's just the color that you picked isn't the same in person, which happens quite often with art and like throw pillows and things like that. Yeah. But with majority of my design, the whole house is meant to flow. So if something doesn't really work in one room, it may work in another. And there's a lot of editing that happens when stuff comes in. I may have planned it for a bedroom, but I might put it in the living room and swap the art because for some reason or another, it just looks better in a space than the other one. Yeah. And so you miss all of that editing process when you just do a design scope, because you're hoping that the person you're doing it for will understand that extra step. But for the most part, they don't, because if they did, why are they hiring a designer? Yeah. If they're any good at design. I say that, but I would probably hire a designer just so that I could have somebody to bounce ideas off of. Yeah. But yeah, he did an okay job, I would say. I'd give him like a B.
I mean, I know, because then you've had another client, and this is how I would be. He tried to just hire your design service, and then you sent him the basically massive sheet of, because most people think, bed, nightstand, dresser, kitchen table, the 9 or 10 like essential things. And like, oh, that's not going to be that bad. I can buy those 9 or 10 things. Yeah. And then when you actually look at the Excel sheet, because I've seen it, it's the curtain rod, it's the curtain, it's the soap, the sponges, the forks, the not like it's
soap dispenser that the soap goes in.
Yeah, it's the fire extinguishers, it's the first aid kits, it's the and so that's one of the things that you also do is like when you're done. Well, that's going too fast. So yeah, so you sent them over the whole sheet of design, and I was like, hey, here's the pictures of the design. Here's the order list, which is simple as you just click the link, put it in your cart, and buy it. Like, it was super easy, but it's like multiple pages, and it takes you, when you start ordering, I mean, it takes you hours.
Yeah, it's a good 5, depending on the size of the property, it's probably a good 5 to 8 hour day.
And then again, sometimes that stuff isn't available for shipping.
Correct. You'll get all the way through, and when it was available when I made the design scope, but a week has gone by and they've finally approved the scope. All their questions are out of the way and we're ready to order. And surprise, we no longer have it.
Yeah.
So you have to pick something else. I'm like,
Yep.
Great, awesome. And then again, that's another hurdle that happens if you just do a design scope, because you usually get one edit and then that's it, because I'm not going to keep going back.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like they come with a disclaimer of, guess what? Order this now, because at any point in time, it could be out of stock.
Yeah, it could change in 10 days.
Yeah.
I know I've just buying our podcast studio setup stuff. The person who kind of helped me with lights and C-stands and stuff like that, he sent me stuff and I went to go buy it and it was in the cart. And then a week later, I was like, oh, I forgot I need to order that stuff. And then it's gone.
Yeah.
So then I got to find a similar light or the same light or whatever it is. And so it's the same with, and then imagine, that's just one item for me. Imagine if you had pages and pages, and then also Amazon won't let you check out 20 grand at one time.
No.
Like you have to do like what, $3,000 to $5,000 at a time.
I try to keep it around 3. They don't do a number amount. It's actually quantities that you can put into the cart, and that ranges from about like 20 to 40 items. And then what it'll do is start kicking stuff into your like save for later and completely ruin your spot. So you have to be really cognizant of where you are.
So then you think you've
in
ordered
the ordering sheet.
You think you've done
because
it.
That's happened to me twice now. It's very infuriating.
Yeah.
And their system is kind of archaic because they have so many different warehouses, and they're packaging and sending you stuff from specific warehouses. So the invoices for your clients are quite messy. So when they go to reconcile, there's a lot of organization that has to stay organized while ordering so that you can give them their receipts.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, oh, I spent $20,000 on Amazon. So can you show me what I spent it on? And you're like, yeah. It's all in this folder. Follow it from 1 to, typically there's about 45 invoices from Amazon alone, because they separate by warehouse and not by order.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's $1 trillion business. You think they could figure it out? I don't know. Maybe one day Jeff Bezos will listen to this and be like, oh, that Maggie, she's so smart.
We'll send him episode 1 of Life Unfiltered podcast and be like, hey, Jeff, check out minute 33.
We're going to need you to do better.
Yeah, actually be like minute 30 and then kind of go on from there.
You could sell one of the yachts and fix it.
You could. Or you can just do it exactly how he's doing it and people will continue to use it.
Or in world hunger. Yeah, that's the other one.
I think the cats are attacking the door.
Are they?
I don't know.
I hear Enzo.
I do hear Enzo.
Sorry.
So if you guys hear a little barking dog, we tried to keep him as far away from the room as possible, because if you don't know anything about a Pomeranian, they bark a lot.
At the wind.
A lot.
At themselves.
They bark at us every day.
I've caught him barking at himself in his reflection in the front window.
Yeah. It's so I was like, as soon as we started recording, I could hear him barking to the recycle person outside or something. I was like, he's got to be outside for this. So, but and talk about, so like we're into the new year. How hectic was December this year?
It was wild.
It still doesn't even feel like we've settled in to 2024 yet.
No, I don't even know what day it is. I know it's my mom's birthday. That's all I know today.
Yeah, so we just dated the podcast. So.
Yeah. Oh, we did. Are you not supposed to do that?
No. There's no rules against it. It's just like generally you keep your podcast dates vague so that if you don't record them in order or things like that, then. But this is episode 1, so we don't really have any others.
All right. Well,
so we're good. So
whatever.
No. So it's in January.
Yeah, December was wild. We had quite a many stages and quite a many installs for sure.
Yeah.
And it kind of rolled into January. It didn't really stop. I think didn't I work Christmas Eve, or did I take Christmas Eve off? I think I did.
You took Christmas Eve off from the client's house, but you did work Christmas Eve at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it didn't really, the holiday season felt long because we had our big party. And that was like the first weekend of December.
And it was nonstop.
And it just didn't stop. And it really kind of hasn't up until probably the last week.
And not just work. I mean, just kids, life. Like, I mean,
lots of events, parties.
I'm so thankful that they're in daycare today or camp or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Because A, we want to get this recorded today. And B, it just, I don't feel like we've had an entire week of school I can't remember because last week we had the tornado stuff, and then they tried to close school last Friday, and then
for weather again.
so I'm like, guys, y'all going to school, you're going to camp, you're going to everything.
Oh yeah, because today's MLK Day, so
Yeah.
again, dating it. That's why they're not. That's why they're not here.
So if you hear the release date, you'll see how long it took us to get this edited on. So
no, that's on you.
that's
So
on me.
everyone blame Brandon.
Yeah,
If
so-
it's tomorrow, then wow. But I doubt it.
No, I don't know if it's going to go that far or not. So I like to do things slowly,
Yes, that is true.
including drive.
Mm-hmm. Is that a callback?
It
Or
is
a call towards?
Yeah,
I don't know. They call that.
I can't drive 55. And so the funny joke behind this, we were going over the Ravenel Bridge
Yes.
the other day.
Where were we going?
I don't know, Mount Pleasant for something.
Oh, Town Center.
Yeah. And so, I'm an old man now. I have
That's where we're going.
the gray in my maybe 5 miles an hour
No.
on secondary roads, and then you get 8 to 9 miles an hour over the interstate.
Incorrect.
No, it's not like. And so
You are incorrect.
we battled this, and so I stick to those rules. Sometimes I even drive under the speed limit. Just
Horrific.
enjoying
It's
myself.
really embarrassing. I was having secondhand embarrassment. I was thinking that everyone, thankfully my car isn't wrapped yet, but because no one could know that it was me in the car. But there were people passing us on the Cooper River Bridge, all going at least 65, I would say. I mean, they were passing us.
Everybody was passing me, I will admit.
Yes, and you were in the middle lane, and then you finally got over to the slow lane.
There's no slow lane on the bridge because
Exactly.
it merges two different ways.
You just proved my point. There is no slow lane on the bridge. Go faster. Go faster.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna.
So
I like keeping my insurance low, so stick to it as it is.
Who sings that song? Do you know how it goes?
I don't even know the song.
I can't drive 55.
No. Why would
Really?
Why would I know the song?
Probably because it's been in like every car commercial at least once. It's Sammy Hagar. I can't drive 55. It's even the name of the song. It's a classic rock song.
No, I got nothing on that.
Unless you got Too Fast, Too Furious.
So,
Yes.
this is Maggie's choice of set design. So
Well, because I thought about it and I was like, well, that's the first song I can think about when I drive because I don't like driving 55. And I think that
our insurance proves that too.
I think, no, it's not. None of those things were my fault. I think that the majority of people would agree with me that you go 10 over on the interstate and you go 10 over on a big, like 4-lane highway bridge moment, like the Cooper River Bridge.
10 over on the interstate is a ticket.
No, it is not.
It's a ticket. It is.
No, it's not.
9 and below is no ticket.
Then why is everyone going like 95 miles an hour?
I don't care what everybody else is doing. It's kind of like the whole thing. If your friend jumped off a bridge, did you jump too?
I mean, what is there a prize? And
There's no prize for doing 10 miles an hour over the interstate.
The prize is getting there and beating my GPS. That's the prize.
That is a really cool feeling. But
yes.
But have you ever done
I've shaved 2 to 3 minutes off that bad boy almost every time. And
so,
I feel like I won. Small wins.
There we go. Gamifying the GPS.
Small wins. I know everyone does it because I GPS everywhere I'm going. Even if I know how to get there and I know multiple ways to get there.
Because traffic and accidents have gotten so bad.
I will not sit in traffic. I refuse.
It's because people
are driving too slow.
That is, it probably is a bigger cause for accidents. But those are really slow drivers. Those aren't like my speed. That's like the guy we were behind yesterday.
I'm sure that many people felt that you were the reason for some accidents when they were passing us on the Cooper River
Like
Bridge.
the guy driving yesterday. I think it might have been Friday. Through downtown.
Oh,
he was doing like 10 miles.
When he was getting on the
off the connector.
Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah.
He's probably going like 35 miles. He's basically fully stopped, but he was also like 98. Just a crypt keeper.
Yeah.
He needs to not be driving at all. It's honestly, but you're so close to death. As long as you don't kill anybody else. Maybe he's trying to.
That's the fear.
Maybe he's trying to take him and his wife out. They're trying to end it.
That's
I respect, but
that's not nice. It's kind of like when you get to a certain age, like life just there are no more rules. Like it doesn't matter if you do drugs or alcohol or.
Wonder what makes them slow down like that.
They can't see, they can't think, they can't process things.
Is this the processing?
It's everything.
Super slow.
It's everything. I mean, just like talk to your grandmother.
It's infuriating for me though.
Talk to your grandmother and have her just put a TV show on the TV. It's not like they can't just pick it up and hit 24. Like it's, they got to look at the remote and then I got to tell you a story and then they got to process it. And I love them to death, but like, but imagine that driving, everything that goes on when you're driving. You have cars, you have lights.
Yeah, no, I mean you got to be paying attention.
Yeah, you have to be paying attention.
Yeah, you have to be going 10 miles over.
So
anyways, you can keep up with traffic.
I would love y'all's feedback. Are you somebody who drives the 4 miles or less on secondary roads and 9 miles or less on interstate?
Where do you get 9 and 4? It's 5 and 10. Why are you going down one?
No, 5
and 10. You think
and
the
10
policeman is going to be like, nah, I'm not going to get them because they're at 49 and not 50?
Exactly.
What?
Exactly. 100%.
No.
100%.
I think it depends on what because there's different price tickets, right?
I think we're going to do a poll on our Instagram. And we'll see who they vote. So as soon as this episode comes out, we'll clip it as a reel. and then we're going to poll. It won't be a month. No. Now we're going to crush this thing. So.
All right. Well, I still believe that you should go like 10 over. Or maybe it's not 10 over, but whatever the middle lane is doing, like just because you need to be going with traffic. Like flow with the traffic flow.
Again, to an extent.
But I mean, if we're out here, if it's NASCAR, it's NASCAR. Like, if we're all on the same wavelength, like you are on the interstate, we all got to get to Columbia or wherever we're going. Like, everybody's in that same mindset because they've been in the car or they're about to be in the car for hours. So they're like, yo, I'm going to put this on my speed. What's the thing called?
Cruise control?
Cruise control, that's it.
You don't use that.
No, I do not.
You don't use that.
No, I don't trust my car. I don't trust any cars. I like to drive, so I'm going to drive, which means using my foot for the brake and the gas.
No, I don't want any of that.
I don't trust the little computer. If it's the jerky, the braking is still too jerky.
Well,
like that's still too.
That's not cruise control. That's like.
Is that the?
That's the driving. I don't know. Lane assistance or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Whatever.
Adaptive cruise control.
That's it.
That's what it is.
Adaptive cruise control. Anyway, I don't use that because it makes me feel less connected to the vehicle. That's going to like change its mind.
If I could sleep in the car, I would.
You're a freak.
If I could sleep and drive, I would.
There's no way.
100%.
No.
100%.
You're going to end up like that show, Upload, on Amazon, where the guy, he gets like murdered because in a self-driving car, the car like runs into a wall and he dies because he was napping. Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty easy way to go out.
I mean, that's probably what the old people should have done.
I mean old people. Why are you hating on old people?
I mean,
I'm not
an ageist by any means. I think that they offer a lot of wisdom to people. I just think that they shouldn't drive.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that you're slow and like you can't, or maybe they don't know. I don't know. But you can't like move quickly.
Maybe they've forgotten what it was like to be fast.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, at what point do you just start forgetting that or not realizing like I'm moving kind of slow?
I don't know. You want to talk about slow? Let's talk about the houses that we put on the market last quarter.
Okay. Yeah, it was slow.
It was slow.
It's slow
For
now.
those of you that are in the space. It's picking up, though.
Yeah.
Right? We're getting ready to put them on the market this Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
So for those of you that, people ask us about like market updates and stuff like that all the time. We put 2 houses on the market and some happened last year. What, October-ish? September, October?
Yeah.
And great feedback. Great.
Lots of showings.
Activity.
I think one had like 36 showings, but
no offers.
0 offers. Well, we got like a verbal, and then we had somebody who was writing up an offer, and then their buyer had cold feet. I still don't even know if those people ever ended up buying something, but I have a feeling we're going to be going into a quite wild spring. So if you're a person who's thinking about buying their first house or second house or whatever, I would do it now. I'd get in the mix because I feel like we're going to hit a space of multiple offers again and like stuff being wild, especially if rates drop. But even if they don't, we're like kind of at an equilibrium of like change, and people are just getting used to seeing like 5 and 6. And so,
I mean, I don't necessarily know that it's the number as it is the volatility of up and down.
yeah.
But it's an election year this year,
Mm-hmm.
and so they're not going to do anything to screw up the economy. And so, if anything, they're going to do it to bring life into it. And so,
Oh, yeah.
we have, hopefully, we have 2 going on this week, this week. It's already, yeah. And then we'll have 3 or 4 in the next 90 days or less. And we're hoping to really kind of kick that ramp up. But like to talk about deals, one of the houses that we're renovating right now, we got it for 65 or 70 grand below list price. And it was funny, like other people had offered this price, but it's because, again, fatigue of sellers, stuff sitting on the market. And we were honest and transparent and like, just kind of told them what was going on. But that can be had as a homeowner too. Like, hey, this is what's going on. I really like the house, here's concerns. And we kind of talked about it, and people are willing to make deals and do different things right now, for sure.
For sure. I mean, if you're not taking advantage of it, like just don't get mad in April when you can't get a house.
Yeah.
Because I know that other agents and realtors are telling their clients like, yo, you need to make a decision pretty quickly.
Yeah. So this year when we get the letters and the dog photos, like
I have zero sympathy for anyone anymore.
Correct. Yeah. It just
like I told you so moment for sure.
We've told, because last year, we had, we'd sold a couple properties that were profitable and they did really well, but we sold them to clients that maybe weren't the highest offer, or we could have gotten more. We could have done some things because there were some emotional cards to it.
Some teachers,
military,
yeah,
stuff like that.
It's like,
and it's
good karma points.
And it feels good when things are moving and there's lots of activity. But then when you have like the 2 houses we had that tons of feedback, showings, like everything, when it comes back again and someone's like, I really want this house, it's my first choice. I'm gonna be like,
show me the money.
Your offers are going to be with everybody else's. Yeah. And it's because it's been,
I'm just going to send that GIF to all the agents that text me. Oh, how many offers do you have? I'm just going to send the Jerry Maguire show me the money GIF.
Yep.
I just am. I'm like,
because you think about the
best realtor.
Remember the house on Wynn Street when
Ren
went, and somebody who had been trying to buy a house for like a year and a half wanted the house, and it was outdated, but it was super clean. Like literally you could buy and live in it. And affordability in Charleston, we put it on the market for 170, 180, something like that. And activity just went through the nut.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Crazy amount of showings and stuff. And we had a couple call us that were interested and wrote an offer, I think like 10 grand over ask.
Yeah.
5 or 10 grand over ask, pretty clean offer, but it was, appraisal and finance contingent and all that stuff. And so, but we had 20 showings behind it, and it didn't make sense to accept that at that moment. And so we called them back and it's like, hey, with this price, we don't need any crazy contingencies and all that stuff, but if this price, we'll take it off the market and it's yours, and we'll cancel all showings. And it wasn't an outrageous price. I think it was what, 200 grand?
Yeah.
Which is what we kind of thought the house priced at anyways. And they're like, no, we're going to roll the dice. And yeah, I guess
I kept telling their agent, I was like, if they really want it, like, and he kept saying, he was like, well, first offer's the best offer. And I'm like, listen, maybe they taught you that in the certified negotiators class. That's great. But I'm telling you right now, we're going to get more for this house. So if your client really wants it, like this, I'm giving you the playbook.
Yeah.
Offer this.
It's yours.
It's yours. Like this isn't, I'm not playing games. Like this is it.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's not like they were approved for even well above what we were.
Yeah, they were. And I remember having to call them and be like, this is the offer we're at now. And I think it's like 210 or something. 220 cash.
We went 50.
And he was like, what? And did I not tell you? Was I not clear enough? Like you could have saved. You could have had you and your client could have had this. So,
correct.
And maybe like their client was just not willing to budge and being stubborn. There's only so much you can do. You can't make people do stuff as a representation, but you would hope you would be able to, after showing these people like 40 homes or something insane.
Yeah, it was a bunch.
Yeah. And at that point I was like, you need to fire them because they obviously can't make a decision. I have commitment issues at that point.
Yeah. And that's, I mean, I get it. You know, I see houses a little bit differently because I walk them and see them in states and buy them and treat them more like, you know, a product than I do,
Yeah.
you know, kind of even living in our own home. It still feels like just, it is what it is. Like it is what we do. I mean, I do enjoy some of the personality and stuff that we've created in it. And so I would see it from a homeowner standpoint, you know, hey, first home, or this is all I can afford, and have an analysis process and everything
get into the mix, because there's still equity to be earned, I think, in Charleston still, even at our high prices. And so it sometimes makes me wonder, like, what they're talking about with their realtors. Like, are we having real conversations with our clients?
Yeah.
Or are we babying them? And who knows if they've ever gotten a house, but that's too many.
It is.
I would have quit already. That's why I'm not a buyer's agent.
Yeah. I have trouble.
Yeah, so this is the third one. Which one do you want?
Yeah.
You got 3 choices.
It's like the show, what is it? The lottery.
Oh, the lottery weighing one?
They literally look at 3 homes, and I'm like, you just won $1 million. I don't think that going and buying a vacation home on the lake is the smartest.
No.
But if maybe you are in a better spot and the lottery is just going to allow you to buy another home, I find it hilarious that people just look at 3 homes. Like, is it 1, 2, or 3? Or what's the other one where they're couples and they make the funny jokes like this person's a dog walker and this person's a stay-at-home.
Oh.
And they have a budget of like
house hunters?
I think so, like $1.3 million cash.
I raise salamanders.
But yeah, they
salamanders for $3 million a year.
I think it's hilarious. Like, I want to know, like, how many homes do they really look at, or does the production company be like, you get 3 houses?
Oh, yeah.
Pick one of the 3.
I'm sure they go through a list and pick a top and then film and then par it down from there for the edit.
What if you saw like that show, but in the 2020 market or 2021 market?
I don't think they could film it
when it was like
all 3 are gone.
So you've just entered. You just left the house and it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's gone.
Yeah.
I'm sure there was a lot of that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
For a lot of people.
House hunters in a flash, because you had to basically write the offer before you went and saw the house.
It had to be like Supermarket Dash.
Yeah.
3 minutes. And you had to run through the house and then put your name down quickly if you wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
So. No contingencies, no inspection. It's freaking nuts.
Dude,
don't ever do that.
Never. I mean, I'm cool.
No house is worth it.
I'm happy with it. I think it's stupid to, even as somebody who sells houses, I think it's stupid to waive everything and not have the ability to get out if there's a problem.
I think that's why we have the new state contract, because it's all due diligence.
Yeah, I think
it forces a buyer into a due diligence period, or buyer and a seller into one. It's
your choice to decide what you want to ask for, you know, and at that point, that's when it's negotiation, you know, and like, you know, the way that we kind of frame it, if there's a major issue and then we got to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But we take pride in our homes. Like, we try to fix anything and everything before it gets to that point. But we've had stuff pop up on inspections that somebody did wrong or something was wrong or whatever it is.
Right.
And like, I wouldn't feel right buying a house or selling somebody a house. And
if it's something we're not going to buy ourselves as a finished product, like, we wouldn't try to sell it. Correct.
And so, but I've heard stories now of people like wanting to get out of their 2.5%, 3% interest rates because the houses are so bad.
Oh,
or they don't love them. The repairs, like, it's nuts. And so, like, for those of you out there buying homes, don't waive them, but just be like, hey, like, we had a really cool one that I liked. We actually went with a different offer, but it had nothing to do with this part. It just was a unique way of doing it. Is their repair addendum wasn't going to be for anything under $10,000.
Right.
And so basically they wanted to cover like roof, HVAC, crawl space, stuff like that.
They basically guaranteed themselves $10,000 in repair.
Yeah. So they were like, we're comfortable if there's, you know, some little things that we want to change or this or that, but if it's no major things. And so I thought that was a pretty unique way to do it.
Yeah, it was an interesting way to approach a repair, you know, request for sure.
And obviously financing is going to change at FHA, VA, like, everybody's different. Like, there's things you have to fix for those. But I think it's educating the agent, getting the agents to have the conversations. And then, you know, what you always say is that agents need to work as a team to close the transaction.
Yeah.
And
it drives me nuts when it becomes like a competition between myself.
who can get more or less?
And
or
I'm like,
get,
what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, because the fact of the matter is, if we're not closing this deal together, like neither one of us are going to make money.
Correct.
So it's like,
And you're not serving your clients.
And you're not serving either one of our clients to the best of our ability if we're not working together to close the deal amicably, where we feel like both parties were represented and both parties got what they wanted.
Yeah.
You know, it's compromise every single time. And it happens more often than not that somebody, the vibe is, I'm going to win. And I'm like, okay, well, I mean, sure, you won.
And that's, and
Like, I'll be like, sure, you're the winner. You want to be the winner? Fine. I just want the check.
Yeah.
So
and
that's how I consider winning.
I don't want to sell my client's house.
Yeah. I want to sell this house and I want the check. So the end.
So, well, guess what? It's been
What?
an hour.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what that those numbers are?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
That's what those numbers are. Well, they're upside down, so I wasn't really paying attention to them.
Yeah. But see, when this one hits 1, that'll be a full hour.
Oh.
That's, you were talking for episodes, like, what are we going to talk about for an hour?
Oh.
And I mean, other than the tangent on me speeding or not speeding and music, I think that's a pretty good hour.
Yeah, I mean, you need to learn how to drive, but
We'll
faster.
We'll talk about that in episode 2. So.
Okay.
But anyways, thank you guys for listening to us. If you've listened all the way to the end, I think this is something
you might want a hobby.
Yeah, I know. If you drive,
will be your hobby.
If you drive slow enough on the interstate, you can listen to the whole episode in one shot.
1,000%.
Yeah. Or traffic. Adam with Liberty. If you catch that traffic at 7 a.m, check us out.
Gross.
So, anyways, we appreciate you guys and gals. Little Trevor there.
What?
Trevor, guys and gals. Appreciate y'all listening to us. You're gonna be able to hear us on all platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Hopefully the video is working. I have no clue.
We're gonna find out.
We have no clue if we have a video.
I wouldn't be too mad since I'm having a strange bang day and I didn't put any makeup on or shoes.
You've had a strange bang day since you've gotten your haircut, though.
Exactly. Bangs are hard.
Bangs are hard. But anyways, this is episode 1. We appreciate you guys. Give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, depending wherever you're watching us. And if you find any value, leave us a 5-star review, 4.5 star, 5, whatever it is.
Why didn't you say 4.5 stars? That's bad for the algorithm.
Is it bad? Is it?
You just always want 5.
Always want 5 stars, so only 4.5.
And you always going to go 10 over the speed limit.
5. So 5 over speed limit and 5 stars.
10.
Anyways.
10 stars.
Y'all have
Review
a
us
great day.
twice.
Bye.